Hey guys, welcome to the first quiz of Foundations of Algebra B. This is found in Connexus, and we're going to go over similar problems so that it will help you on the quiz. Okay, so this first one, we are solving an equation. I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign, and I'm going to find my letter and box it off. Remember, I want to get the letter by itself. So I need to get rid of what's outside of the box on the same side first. And right now I have divided by 8. The opposite of dividing is to multiply each side by 8. So that's what I'm going to do. And the times 8 and divided by 8 will cancel, leaving me with just 7x. And then on this side, I have 14 times 8, which is 112. Now remember, I'm still trying to get the x by itself. And right now I have 7 times x. Well, the opposite of multiplying is to divide. So I'm going to divide each side by 7. Would cancel, leaving me with just x, and then 112 divided by 7 equals 16. So that is how I would solve that equation. I would start off by multiplying each side by 8, then I would divide each side by 7, and then I would get my final answer. For this one, again, we're solving an equation, so let's draw our line down the equal sign, and let's find our letter, and let's box it off. We want to get rid of whatever's on the same side. That's not the letter. So we're going to start off by getting rid of plus 5.8. The opposite of adding 5.8 is subtracting 5.8. So we're going to subtract that from each side. I'm going to bring this straight down. So negative 6q equals, and then I'm going to go ahead and subtract there. So 29.8 minus 5.8, and you can do that in your brain or in your calculator. I use a calculator for everything, but you don't have to. Okay, we're still trying to get this letter by itself, and right now we have negative 6 times q. If you ever have a letter and a number smushed together and there's no sign in between them, that always means you're multiplying. So because we're multiplying, the opposite will be to divide. So I'm going to divide each side by negative 6, so that cancels. And then 24 divided by negative 6 is going to leave me with a negative 4. All right, which equation makes this statement? The product of 2 and the difference of a number and 10 is 15. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and make myself some notes. Product in math means multiply. The difference means subtract. So we have the difference of a number. Anytime it says a number, we're going to give that a letter. We can give it the letter N or the letter X. It doesn't really matter. It just needs to be a letter. And then is means equals. So let's go ahead and write this out. We're the product of 2 and the difference. So we're going to start off by multiplying 2 times something. And I'm going to go ahead and use parentheses to represent times. And I'm multiplying 2 by the difference. So I know I'm subtracting a number and 10. So I'm going to take my number minus 10. I'm multiplying 2 by all of that. And it is 15. So equals 15. And that should be my equation. Ernesto loses 12.4 pounds in 7 months. Now he weighs 156.5 pounds. Which equation can be used to find out how much he weighed before? All right, so let's write an equation. We know that he loses 12.4 pounds. So in mathematics, we would use subtraction because that's what he's taking off of his weight. He now weighs 156.5 pounds. And what we want to know is how much he weighed before. So we don't know how much he weighed before. We can give it a letter. It can be W or X or any letter you want. I'm going to go ahead and call it X. So his weight before, we don't know what it was, but then we know that he lost 12.4 pounds from that and that he now equals 156.5. That would be my equation. And let me go ahead and point out the 7 months doesn't matter. Okay, it's just a distractor. If you want to know his weight before, you would take his weight and subtract it from the weight he lost. It doesn't matter how long it took him to do that. He would still weigh 156.5 pounds, whether he lost it in 2 months or 7 months or 12 months. That's just a distractor to confuse you, so you got to ignore that 7. All right, Shannon opens a savings account with $50, starting with the first week. Each week she deposits $8 into her account. How many weeks does it take for her to save to $450? Okay, so we know she starts with 50. And then we know that each week she deposits $8 into her account. So if we're depositing, that's going to add to the 50. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself a note that if I'm depositing it in, I'm going to be adding it. If I was taking it out, then I would be subtracting. But because I'm putting it in, I'm going to add it. And she puts in $8 per week. And we want to know how many weeks. So we don't know that yet. So we need to give it a letter. I'm going to call it W. And then this is the total. So the total is always on the other side of the equals. This is the equation, but it wants to know how many weeks. So we need to go ahead and solve that. So we're going to box off our letter. We need to get rid of plus 50. The opposite of plus 50 is minus 50. I'm going to bring this straight down. 8W, 8 times W equals 400. And I'm still trying to solve for my letter. Right now I have 8 times W. The opposite of timesing is dividing. And then you can do this in your brain or your calculator. 400 divided by 8 is 50. So it takes her 50 weeks to get a total of $450. All right, consider the following solution of 8x plus 9 equals 57. What property can justify the second step in the solution? So let's just go ahead and write all the properties. In this first step here, they subtracted 9 from each side. So that would be the subtraction property of equality. And the reason they say of equality, it just means that whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other in order to keep it equal. So in this first step, they're subtracting. In the second step, they're dividing each side by 8. So that would be the division property of equality, because we can divide each side by 8. So in that second step, we would be using the division property of equality. I hope this helps on your quiz.